Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So I had a couple questions about how the class is structured. It's always difficult in online class to kind of figure out in the first week or so how things are structured. So I'm just going to post this video and leave it up as sort of a discussion, I suppose, of the way things will be. And so basically, as you go through the Blackboard site, you'll see that there's documents all over, okay? And they are organized, believe it or not, in a logical fashion. And so let's start with the syllabus tab. If you go to the syllabus tab, you'll find both the syllabus, which is all the policies, et cetera, and then also there is the course schedule, okay? And the course schedule is the readings that you're supposed to be doing for the week, okay? So every week, baseline, you should read the course schedule and then respond to those readings in the discussion board. Okay, so at least every week for 10 weeks rather, you have 15 points available to you, 5 points per post by putting things up in the discussion board. And so the discussion board, as I already said, works in that you put up a webcam video on Wednesday or by Wednesday, and then 2 typed responses by Friday. Okay. And I know I put MLA style, and Blackboard will sometimes strip away the formatting because it's Blackboard. But really all I need is that you would put the parenthetical citation. In other words, that you put the page number in parentheses after wherever you use a direct quote. And that's just kind of me checking up on you, making sure that you're reading the material, you have it in front of you, and so on. I'm always amazed by the students who will have a book in front of them and yet try to search for something online. And cite the online site when the book and the page number is like right there on the desk. So stick to the book. Don't use online sites because you can't really trust them. People might manipulate the text. They could be missing material. I had one student that cited a short story that was missing about 3 or 4 pages of material, and they were like, why did all that happen? So in the textbook, at least, you can be assured that everything is there and everything is correct. So minimum each week, read the stuff that's on the course schedule and then respond to it on the discussion board. Okay. Now, if you take a look under the assignments tab, you're going to see all the assignments that will be due this semester that are sort of the big deals. And so your 3 film journals and your 4 papers. Your 3 film journals and your 4 papers will always come directly to me through turnitin.com. So if you're turning in something to be graded that's coming directly to me, in other words, you're not spreading it out through the rest of the class, that comes to me through turnitin.com. Okay, and those are the final drafts. So the final draft for your film journals, your papers, all come to me through turnitin.com. Later on, you'll be posting a few rough drafts on the discussion board, but you don't need to worry about that just yet. I'll tell you about that when we get to that particular week. Now, on the assignments tab, you'll see a write-up for every paper you're going to be doing. So all 4 papers and then also your film journal write-up is there. So you can feel free to look at them as they come. You can feel free to look at them all now, okay? And with a online class, especially one over the summer, some people like to get way ahead. And so there might be a couple go-getters out there right now that are starting to think about their first paper, poetry paper, and taking a closer look at that. And that's one reason why I make those all available at the very start. You can take them or leave them, basically, but don't leave them when they're due. So always make sure that you read the assignment before you actually turn in the paper. Now, you'll see on the course schedule next week your film journal is due. And so, of course, make sure that you read your film journal assignment, and then that's under the assignments tab, and then make sure you submit that through turnitin.com. Now, if you go to course documents, you'll see that there is a week-by-week breakdown of everything. And this is all mostly supplemental material. So if you read it and you're kind of fuzzy on the canon, there's a podcast that's there for you that I am discussing the canon, et cetera, to kind of help you out along the way. There are PowerPoint presentations that I've dumped in there. All of that stuff is available for you, but there aren't really requirements per se. Now you'll see in the week 2 course documents folder, there's a video of me discussing the film journal And I would say that's probably a pretty good idea to watch that so you can kind of pick up some of the nuances of the assignment, get an idea for what to do, some of the things that people do on the film journal, like this movie sucks, but that's not really what you should be doing, okay? And so that's all explained in the film journal. So you definitely want to make sure you're checking out the folder each week. And if there's a presentation on a paper, for instance, you probably want to spend some time watching or listening to that. One note about the podcast in particular, they were recorded before we switched editions for our textbook. And so all the page numbers are kind of shifted over about 3 or 4 pages as they move stuff around. But it's not a big deal. So if I say something's on page 32, you don't need to freak out and wonder where it is. Just kind of listen to what I'm saying, remember the quotes, etc., and then you'll move on from there. So essentially, your assignments are every week read the stuff on course schedule and then post in the discussion board. On weeks where there's a paper due, which will be more weeks than not, you'll have read this course schedule, read the stuff that's on the course schedule, post in the discussion board, and submit a final paper to me through Turnitin.com. We run the week basically by Sunday to Friday or Saturday. Usually for papers, I give you until Saturday. So if you take a look and you see, let me pull up my calendar here, you will see that Film Journal number 1 is already active on Turnitin.com. And again, I like to make these things available ahead of time for people who are go-getters. Okay, it's already active on Turnitin.com, and it will be active until June 4th. Okay, and once June 4th rolls around, that timer goes off just like on the discussion boards, and you can no longer access it. And so once you can no longer access it, it is officially late. And at that point in time, according to syllabus, you're losing on those papers 50 points a day. And so make sure that you get everything in on time. Make sure you're registering for Turnitin.com. In probably about 15 or 20 minutes, I'm going to be uploading the rubric for all of our papers and journals. And so with the discussion board, it's fairly informal. I want you to use appropriate grammar, and punctuation is still not a Reddit thread. You're still doing it for class. And so I'm not going to grade those too harshly. But with your papers and your journals, I'll certainly be seeing that you're reading the material, you're understanding it, you're writing about it, you're using an argument, all of that stuff. So that's kind of the scope of the class. Remember, Sunday through Saturday, usually. If Sunday, I might be a little late every now and again, but not too bad. And your discussion board is every week, posted webcam video by Wednesday, 2 responses by Friday, and during certain weeks, you will see that you'll have a paper or journal due, and those will be coming to me through Turnitin.com, usually by that Saturday week. Okay, so that's everything. Now, a lot of people are like, why don't you put dates down and so on and so forth, but I don't like doing that because I usually have to move assignments around or push assignments back. That just collectively freaks everyone out. Those who are very pro-date and those who are doing it week by week, it's just easier to think of it as a weekly schedule, especially in online class, rather than you must do this by date and you must do this by this date. It's very, believe me, I've been doing this for 10 years now. It's very difficult in an online class to keep everyone on board at the same time if we have a very regimented, by the 25th you will have done this, 27th you will have done this, because then people are thinking, well, it's the 26th, so I don't have anything to do, or the 6th, and now I'm late, and now I'm going to freak out and all this on my discussion board. But I think if you think of it as a weekly schedule, so one going across Sunday, Saturday, week 2 going across Saturday, and just kind of keep it week by week. That will help you out along the way. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. It helps out in kind of deciphering the logic of the class. But there is one, and it'll make sense in the semester. I know the first week is kind of like, what's going on? So